I am Doomsvince, and this is day 26 of Spawn Year.
Todd McFarlane finally takes back both the writing and drawing reins after helping Frank Miller put a batarang in Al's face. While Grant Morrison made this world awesome for 3 issues, Alan Moore turned it into a Tex Avery bloodbath in the Violator mini, and Tom Orzechowski and Andrew Grossberg tried to explain Spawn's magic by bringing in Harry Houdini to solve the series' most deadly plot so far and rendering Spawn expendable. This is one of McFarlane's more solid issues so far. He feels pretty refreshed and enthusiastic about being back. Once again, not especially comfortable in the writer's seat, the fatigue was clearly setting in early in his initial run, and by early, I mean issue 2. And it was obviously a good idea for him to take a long break after the overwhelming work and commercial fame that came with it. Getting away from the high-concept mythology stuff, McFarlane brings us back to the human element as he sees it, reminding us, as well as himself no doubt, what Spawn wants and what his main supporting cast wants. This one is more about setting the stage for things to come rather than telling much of a story, but the theme is clear and the writing uncharacteristically focused. Spawn shouldn't exist, and because he does, the people he most cares about from Al Simmons' life are getting hurt. I've complained again and again about how non-proactive Al is, and though I still don't want to read about a guy brooding in alleys and constantly repeating how he wants to resolve things with his widow issue to issue while never seeing any progression toward that goal, I do really like the idea that no matter what this Spawn of Hell does on Earth, right or wrong, it complicates the lives of those around him. After all, this is Spawn's hell, having to pay for the lives he took while he was alive as a monster returning to Earth where everything he loves is still where he left it, only it's better off without him. And he can interact with those people if he wishes, but he risks the likelihood of causing them pain. McFarlane shows us here how Al has unwittingly done that, over and over, putting Terry Fitzgerald in the crosshairs of not just Jason Wynn, who is still setting Terry up as a scapegoat for security breaches that were really Spawn's doing, but also Tony Twist, who believes, because of planted evidence and FBI investigation into Terry's dealings, that he stole the weapons that took care of Overkill and blew up Twist's office. Terry is about to be the target of a two-pronged attack, all because of and unbeknownst to Spawn. And just as all that is happening, we have a heartfelt and sobering scene in the alley with the main bum we've come to know, Bobby, who reveals to Spawn why he's homeless, how he stopped living after his wife died of cancer of the brain instead of picking up the pieces and finding a way to move on. I'd like to know if this story is based on a real-life event McFarlane either read about or happened to someone he knew, because the way Bobby describes the horror of seeing his wife's deterioration and pain as she refused to complain for fear of, quote, bothering anyone is vivid and poignant, maybe his best writing so far. Bobby implores Spawn not to become what he has. Bobby says he looks up to Spawn and sees him as a man who can move on despite his personal hell. With his abilities and the way he's cared for the unfortunates in the alley, he can help and inspire people. Finally, we're addressing Spawn's lack of resolve, and he's being confronted directly about it. His dilemma is understandable, but something's gotta give eventually. The world's better off without me doesn't make for real compelling drama month to month. My biggest complaint about this issue is how McFarlane ignores what was done in his absence. Oh, it's all acknowledged, with footnote after footnote referencing Morrison's issues and even Violator number 1, but he clearly has no intention of continuing the fascinating paralleled relationship between Al and Wynn, and is completely vague about what Wynn even knows from the Morrison issues. He mentions his, quote, 2-day disappearance, but does he remember being anti-Spawn? It's difficult to tell if McFarlane even plans to continue the thread of Wynn's association with Malebolgia from what we're given here. Again, there's no reason the Angels would just return Wynn to Earth after they called his fight with Spawn a test run. I don't know why McFarlane doesn't like the idea of Wynn forced by Heaven as their emissary, and if that conflicts with other plans he has for the character, why publish it? Why not give your guest writers clear guidelines of what's off limits because of plot threads you already have in your head, rather than clunky retcons like this one? But the most bizarre retcon of all is the full-page spread of Spawn's face, sewn up by Bobby with a shoelace, and clearly that's from the wound Batman gave him in Spawn Batman, aka Spawn-Batman, aka Spawn vs. Batman. I couldn't believe it. That's canon? Batman is officially in this universe? As we know, this issue came out before 19 for whatever reason, and so readers wouldn't know that the, quote, bozo in black Spawn refers to here isn't Batman, but according to McFarlane's editor's note, Harry Houdini. Wow, that must have been a last-minute change. Is he worried about a lawsuit by referencing the Batarang wound? It's not like he said Batman here. How did he draw that and retroactively think, man, I don't think we can get away with that? And also, why can't Spawn heal his face? I mean, it's worth the energy expenditure over the shoelace. And didn't Houdini just teach him how to create marbles with his costume? Can he heal himself even without affecting the clock if he thinks about it hard enough? Well, I'm thinking about this too hard. We'll talk more about Shoelace Face tomorrow. Until then, dear reader, signed, Captain Logan.